Okay, hello and welcome again to our second video on using MIDI with processing. So last time we talked about the MIDI bus library and importing that and using it with processing. And this time I'd like to point out another piece of code that we want to bring in. This is something that I wrote actually, and it's just this quick sort of two classes that are really important. And they're going to make your life a lot easier when you're creating MIDI sketches, which is why I wrote it. And we're just going to want to incorporate that into our visualization. It'll make it a lot easier. So really, let's first get into why I actually wrote this. Well, so basically when you're using MIDI with processing, I wanted a way to keep track of basically a list of all the notes that are currently being pressed down. So when you've got a bunch of notes, noteOn's coming in and noteOff's coming in, it's kind of confusing which notes are currently existing and which ones have been released. So what I did is I created a library basically just to keep track of that list for you and avoid kind of annoying exceptions that can happen when using processing, when you're trying to loop over a list and then it's changing, and it can cause all kinds of problems and your computer will get really mad at you, but it won't if you use this library. So that's why we're just gonna bring this code in. So I'll put this link in the description, but what you're going to want to do is going to come down here to the NoteManager, and you can just copy this class, so just copy all the code there. And we'll come over to our processing sketch, and just like we did with the bouncing ball, we'll do a new tab. We can call it NoteManager, and just paste that code in there. It'll probably get mad at you a little bit, but that's okay, because we also need to bring in the Note class. So if we come into note.pde, this will just be a basic outline of a Note class that we're actually going to really write ourselves. So if we come over here and do a new tab, call it Note, and then paste that code in there. Yeah, so processing is still mad at me because I need to do one more thing. So if I go back to my main file, I'll just come up here below the import the MIDI bus.star. I just need one more thing from Java, which is called java.util.star. And that's just something that the NoteManager class uses, so we just need to import it, but it's not a huge deal. Now that we have this code incorporated into our sketch, so we have it here copied into these files, we're not even going to touch the NoteManager class. That's entirely handled. It's done, but what we are going to explore is implementing the note and how you actually display and update a note. Because those are really just the artistic choices that you're going to make in the visualization of the music. But here I'll just show you how to set up using this library, just like we did with the MIDI bus. So first things, you're going to want to come up here below your MIDI bus, and you're going to want to create a note manager. So this is the thing that's just going to manage the tracking of that list of notes, like I said. So the note manager, I call it NM just for short. And then down here in setup, I'm going to say the note manager is a new Note Manager, not a Note Manger. Yeah, no. And it does not need any arguments. No, it does not. Okay, so we've created a new Note Manager. It's called NM. And now to use it, there are three things we definitely need to do. So in draw, and remember draw is happening every time a frame is drawn, we need to call nm.track. And that's just going to maintain that list. So it'll add everything that's been played and remove everything that's been released, and that list will be updated every frame. It'll also display and update all the specific individual note objects, which are going to actually create the graphics. So this is super important. Then the two other things are, whenever a noteOn is received, we're going to call nm.addNote. And what we're going to give it is a new note object. And that constructor takes in just the channel of the note, the pitch, and the velocity. And similarly in noteOff, we're going to say nm.removeNote. We're actually, no, sorry, I think it's releaseNote. Yeah, releaseNote. Should know that. And then similar, we're going to give it a new note object, just like the previous one, with the channel, the pitch, and the velocity. Perfect. So these are our three really important things. We've got to say nm.track within the draw function. We got to say nm.addNote anytime a noteOn is received, and we're just going to give it a new note object with the channel, pitch, and velocity of the note message that we received from the MIDI bus. And in noteOff, we're going to say nm.releaseNote, again with a new note object of the channel, pitch, and velocity. And that'll tell it when to add new notes to the list that it's tracking and when to remove notes that have been released from that same list. So this is basically how you interact with the Note Manager class that I've written. And what we're going to do next time is actually implement the note class. And we'll tell each note how to display itself. So maybe it displays itself with a triangle or with some kind of complex shape, with different colors that are scaled based on the velocity or something like that. And that's really where the possibilities open up to whatever you want to incorporate in your visualization. So we'll get into that next time.